The arena was colossal, carved from black stone that glinted under the harsh alien suns, a place built for spectacle, fear, and death. Its vast terraces twisted upward like jagged teeth, packed shoulder to shoulder with spectators from across dozens of star systems, all eager to witness the latest contest of the Glorathian Games. Serana, the reigning champion, stood at the center of the battlefield, the heat of thousands of alien eyes pressing down on her. Sweat clung to her skin, mixing with the dust and grime of prior battles. Her fingers tightened around the hilt of her weapon, a blade forged from rare star-forged metal shimmering faintly in the arena lights. Opposite her, the champion of champions emerged. Korthak, a Dravix warlord whose name alone sent shivers through the galaxy, stomped forward with a presence that made the ground tremble beneath him. Towering over most combatants and covered in thick chitinous armor, his body radiated raw power. Every movement was calculated, each step a reminder of why he had remained undefeated for over a decade. The arena seemed to shrink under his shadow, as though the stones themselves feared him. The crowd erupted in guttural chants, a mixture of awe and bloodlust, their voices rolling across the terraces like thunder. Serana's eyes scanned the battlefield, measuring the distance, the terrain, the subtle patterns of the stone underfoot. She had trained her entire life for moments like this. Long hours under the scorching suns of her homeworld, honing agility, precision, and reflex. Her mind raced, plotting strategies, anticipating attacks. Despite all her training, the sheer magnitude of Korthak's presence made her pulse spike. This was more than a fight. It was survival. Every second a delicate dance along the razor's edge between life and oblivion. Korthak's roar shattered the heavy tension, echoing off the arena walls like a cannon blast. He lunged forward, claws slicing through the air with terrifying speed. Serana pivoted, narrowly avoiding the crushing strike, feeling the rush of displaced air brush her face. Sparks erupted as his claw scraped the stone near her feet. She rolled, barely keeping her balance, and came up ready, every muscle coiled like a spring. Her breaths were sharp, controlled, her mind focused on survival. The alien crowd leaned forward as Korthak unleashed a flurry of attacks, his strikes relentless and precise. Serana ducked, dodged, and countered where she could, each movement a blend of practiced technique and raw instinct. Despite her agility, fatigue gnawed at her limbs, a reminder that even champions have limits. Yet, each hit she avoided, each precise maneuver, sent whispers through the spectators. This human, small and comparatively fragile, was holding her own against the mightiest warrior in the galaxy. As the battle escalated, the arena itself became a character in the conflict. Stone pillars shattered under missed blows, dust and debris spiraled into the air, and sparks danced across shattered remnants of previous fights. The smell of scorched metal and blood filled Serana's nostrils. Every sense was alive, hyper-aware, a symphony of danger she had to navigate. The stakes were absolute. One mistake, one lapse in concentration, and she would die. There was no room for hesitation, no room for error. Amid the chaos, a strange sound drew her attention. A faint, metallic whistle slicing through the roar of the crowd and the thunder of Korthak's strikes. It was subtle, almost unnoticeable, yet it set her nerves on edge. Her eyes darted to the shadows at the arena's perimeter, scanning for the source. The sensation of being watched, of something unseen intervening in the contest, made her stomach tighten. This was no ordinary fight now. There was a new variable, something alien, unpredictable, and potentially life-saving or deadly. Korthak lunged again, a massive clawed strike aimed directly at her head. Serana ducked just in time, feeling the wind of his movement rush past her cheek. Heart hammering, she realized that even in the grip of exhaustion and fear, she was alive because of the precision and training that had defined her entire life. Every muscle, every thought, every instinct was screaming in harmony, "Survive!" Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glint of motion, a streak of light forming at the edge of the battlefield. A new force was entering the fight, and its presence changed everything. The arena, once a simple stage for a duel, now pulsed with electric tension. Serana braced herself, senses sharpened to the maximum, aware that the next seconds would define her life and the lives of countless others watching from the stars. She was alone, yet not entirely so. The air seemed to hum, charged with anticipation. And then, just as Korthak reared back for a crushing blow, the faintest hiss whispered through the air, a sound that would alter the outcome of this battle forever. Above the arena, beyond the view of the alien crowd, a sleek human craft hovered silently in the void. Its metallic hull reflected the light of the twin suns, though the vessel was designed for stealth, almost invisible to scanners unless one knew exactly where to look. Inside, the cabin hummed with quiet energy and anticipation. Lieutenant Jace Rayner crouched over a targeting console, eyes narrowed, scanning the chaos below through high-resolution sensors. Every detail mattered. The trajectory of Korthak's attacks, Serana's precise movements, even the wind patterns that could deflect a projectile. Jace's fingers danced across the controls with confidence honed from years of human training on frontier planets. The humans were a newcomer species to galactic warfare, often underestimated because of their size and their lack of brute strength compared to the towering aliens. Yet they had learned to adapt, to turn apparent weaknesses into strategic advantages. This wasn't just another battle, it was a test, a demonstration of human ingenuity on a scale that could shake the very foundations of the games. Through the viewport, Jace watched Serana dodge another powerful strike from Korthak, who loomed like a living mountain. The champion's sheer size made her evasions look impossible, yet she moved with a predator's grace. Still, he knew her endurance had limits. One misstep could cost her life. Jace's mind raced, calculating angles, distances, and timings, imagining the path of a single arrow that could turn the tide. The weapon wasn't ordinary. It was a human-crafted plasma-tipped projectile designed for pinpoint accuracy and lethal impact. "Hold position," he muttered, steadying his breath. "Wait for the right moment." The craft's systems hummed, stabilizers locking, sensors tracking every twitch of Korthak's movements. Outside, the alien crowd's chants reverberated like thunder, but inside the human vessel there was calm, a contrast between the chaos below and the precise focus above. Jace didn't flinch. He wasn't just aiming at a creature. He was aiming at a symbol, the embodiment of centuries of alien dominance over weaker species. Humanity would prove, in one shot, that intelligence and strategy could outmatch raw strength. Below, Serana shifted her stance, narrowly evading a claw swipe that would have crushed her chest. She could feel the vibrations of each impact reverberating through the arena floor. Her legs burned, her arms ached, yet her mind remained clear, anticipating the next strike. Then faintly she heard it, a whistling that didn't belong to Korthak. It was subtle at first, almost drowned out by the crowd's roar, but distinct enough to make her pause. Something, or someone, was approaching. Jace took the cue. He adjusted the trajectory of his arrow, accounting for wind currents, Korthak's momentum, and the subtle shift in Serana's positioning. With a deep exhale, he fired. The arrow leapt from the launcher, a streak of glowing light cutting across the battlefield like a bolt of human precision. It hissed through the air, a sound almost alien in its speed and silence. The crowd's roar faltered, a collective breath held in shock. Serana flinched instinctively, the arrow skimming past her ear in a blur of deadly brilliance. Korthak, meanwhile, was slower. He hadn't accounted for an attack from above, from nowhere. The arrow embedded itself in his chest, striking a vital point that even his armor could not protect. The impact sent him stumbling, massive claws scrabbling for balance as his bellow of rage and disbelief echoed through the arena. In a heartbeat, the seemingly invincible champion fell, crashing to the stone with the weight of a mountain. The crowd gasped, silence then chaos. The sudden intervention shattered expectations, alien spectators whispering in disbelief, murmurs of the strange, unpredictable species known as humans spreading like wildfire. Humans weren't supposed to fight like this. They weren't supposed to topple legends with a single arrow. Yet here it was happening. Jace didn't pause. He monitored the battlefield as other human operatives emerged from the craft's hidden compartments. Small, agile, and armed with plasma rifles, energy shields, and tech unknown to the galaxy, they advanced toward the arena. Their movements were coordinated, flowing like a single organism, using cover, shadows, and precise timing to avoid alien retaliation. They weren't there to fight recklessly. They were there to change the rules entirely. From the shadows, Serana caught her breath and watched them move. She had fought alone her entire life, but now she realized she wasn't truly alone. These humans, tiny and seemingly fragile, brought with them a new kind of power: ingenuity, precision, and an unyielding willingness to intervene where others feared. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, they were reshaping the battlefield, turning despair into opportunity. Above the arena, Jace adjusted his scope once more, eyes scanning the horizon for the next threat. Humanity had entered the fray, and the rules of the games, long unchallenged, would never be the same again. The arrow cut through the air like liquid fire, a streak of human ingenuity in a world dominated by brute strength and overwhelming size. It hissed past Serana's ear, the wind of its flight brushing against her hair, and for the first time in the duel, her focus shifted from survival to disbelief. She froze for a heartbeat, wide-eyed, realizing the impossibility of what was happening. The arrow had come from nowhere, an invisible hand reshaping the rules of the arena. Korthak, massive and hulking, barely had time to register the attack. His claws reached out, trying to deflect the projectile, but the human engineering behind it was precise beyond belief. It struck his chest with a soft, almost muted thunk, embedding in the vulnerable joint of his armor. Even the legends of his endurance could not withstand the concentrated force delivered in that instant. His roar, a sound meant to terrify, cracked and faltered. He staggered, his massive body pitching forward as the air left his lungs in a violent gust. The ground trembled under his fall, stones cracking beneath his immense weight. The arena went silent. Not a single spectator could breathe properly. The sheer shock froze even the most seasoned aliens in place. A champion undefeated for over a decade had been felled by a single human arrow. Whispers rippled through the stands like electricity. Some aliens gaped in horror, others in awe, their preconceived notions about humans shattered in an instant. This was more than intervention. It was a revelation. Serana's knees nearly gave way beneath her. She had braced herself for the worst, expecting death at any moment. And yet here she was, alive, watching her opponent, the living mountain of muscle and fury, collapse at her feet. Her breath came in sharp, uneven gasps, heart racing. The arrow had saved her life, but it had also shifted the battlefield. A wave of new possibilities surged through her. The fight was no longer about mere survival. It was about seizing an unexpected opportunity. Above, Lieutenant Jace Rayner remained calm, eyes still locked on his scope. His pulse was steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. He watched Korthak fall, noting the micro-adjustments in armor deflection, the subtle shifts in the champion's stance during the strike. Everything was precise, measured, and calculated, the hallmark of human warfare. In the span of a heartbeat, humans had not only entered the fight, but redefined it entirely. From the arena's edge, more human operatives emerged. Compact, armored, and agile, they moved with uncanny coordination. Energy shields sparked faintly as alien projectiles ricocheted harmlessly off their defenses. Plasma rifles hummed, firing rapid bursts that kept alien reinforcements at bay without reckless overexposure. Each human moved like a living algorithm, anticipating threats, exploiting weaknesses, and reshaping the flow of combat in real time. Serana, recovering her stance, observed them carefully. She had been a lone champion her whole life, relied solely on her reflexes, strength, and skill. Now these humans demonstrated something entirely different, a combination of technology, strategy, and fearless adaptability. Their intervention wasn't brute force. It was precision, foresight, and creativity, a level of combat intelligence that Serana had never encountered. Her respect for them grew instantly. Korthak struggled to rise, fury flaring in his eyes. Even wounded, he was a threat. But the arrow had done more than wound him. It had destabilized the battlefield psychologically. The champion's aura of invincibility shattered, and the spectators felt it. Murmurs turned into anxious chatter. Every alien watching began to question the rules, their traditions, and the long-held belief that physical dominance equaled ultimate power. Humanity, it seemed, was rewriting the narrative. The humans moved forward, flanking positions carefully chosen, energy shields raised to intercept any counterattack. Their actions were methodical, almost surgical, as they cut through the arena's chaos like a knife through silk. Serana realized that with these humans, there was a chance, not just to survive, but to dominate the fight against impossible odds. Her own fatigue faded into determination as she synchronized her movements with the newcomers, anticipating strikes and finding openings she hadn't noticed before. Jace's eyes remained on the horizon, scanning for the next threat while communicating silently with his team. Coordination, timing, and precision, these were the tools humanity wielded, more deadly than any claw or blade. The arrow that had dropped Korthak cold wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol. A symbol that even the mightiest could fall to intelligence, skill, and courage. The arena, once a place of predictable combat and fear, had transformed into a battlefield of innovation. The humans weren't just fighting, they were teaching a lesson. A single arrow had shifted the balance, and every movement that followed built upon that monumental act. From that moment forward, the galaxy would no longer underestimate humanity. Serana, heart still pounding, understood it clearly. Survival now meant cooperation with these strange, fearless newcomers, whose presence alone had changed the course of her destiny. The arena was still vibrating from Korthak's fall, but the victory was fleeting. Above, the sky darkened as massive alien warships arrived, blotting out the twin suns with their sheer size. Hundreds of Dravix cruisers, Glorathian fighters, and vessels from allied species converged, their weapons systems humming with lethal intent. Humanity's presence, previously hidden and strategic, had been detected. The humans were now no longer just a precision strike team. They were a target, and the odds had become staggering. Lieutenant Jace Rayner assessed the situation from the hovering stealth craft. His team was small, fewer than 20 operatives, while the alien fleet numbered in the thousands. Even the arena's collapsed stones and shattered pillars could not provide full cover against orbital bombardment. Every second counted, and hesitation could mean annihilation. Jace's mind worked like a machine, processing trajectories, enemy patterns, and environmental factors simultaneously. He issued crisp commands, each one executed without error. The humans weren't just fighting, they were orchestrating chaos with the precision of a symphony. Below, Serana adjusted to the sudden escalation. The arena, already reduced to rubble by the duel, became a maze of broken stone, jagged pillars, and scorching debris. She ran between cover points, anticipating the strike of alien reinforcements while coordinating with the humans. Energy shields sparked faintly as alien soldiers attempted to breach their positions. She marveled at the humans' ingenuity, compact portable shields, rapid-fire plasma rifles, and timing that made every counterattack seem preordained. It was a combat style entirely different from the raw physicality she had mastered. Jace activated an array of drones hovering above the battlefield. They emitted dazzling bursts of light to blind sensors on incoming alien fighters and scrambled targeting arrays on orbital platforms. Alien fire struck the arena's walls and shattered pillars, but none hit their true mark. Each human operative moved like a living algorithm, reading patterns faster than the enemy could adapt. It wasn't strength that made them lethal. It was anticipation, creativity, and relentless adaptability. The alien commanders, enraged at the unexpected intervention, began to coordinate countermeasures. Bombardments intensified, plasma beams cut arcs across the sky, and mechanized infantry surged toward the arena. The humans, small and seemingly fragile, had to exploit every advantage. They deployed gravity disruptors that caused heavy alien projectiles to veer off course mid-flight. Miniaturized hacking devices disabled targeting arrays, creating gaps in the alien assault. Each step forward was calculated, minimizing exposure while maximizing impact. Sarana found herself in sync with the humans, instinctively moving through openings they created. She had never fought with allies before, and this partnership was strange, exhilarating, and terrifying. Her strikes now complemented theirs. Her agility distracted and diverted enemies, while human projectiles struck precisely at their weaknesses. She felt her exhaustion fade into adrenaline, each moment a razor-edge balance between danger and opportunity. Above the battlefield, Jace initiated the next phase. The command ship, a massive vessel that orchestrated the alien assault, floated menacingly in geosynchronous orbit. It controlled fleet movements, deployed reinforcements, and coordinated orbital strikes. Jace's plan was audacious: neutralize the command ship, disrupt the alien fleet, and create a window for victory despite overwhelming odds. The humans' weapons and shields would allow them to reach its hull, but every second, enemy reinforcements multiplied. There was no margin for error. The aliens, realizing their conventional assault was failing, began improvising. Swarm drones flew in unpredictable patterns, bombarding the arena with energy bolts. Mechanized walkers stomped through shattered stone, each step sending tremors across the battlefield. Yet, the humans anticipated, adapted, and countered. Plasma rounds vaporized incoming drones, portable shields deflected energy blasts, and timing allowed Sarana and the team to stay one step ahead. The aliens were powerful, but their predictability could be exploited, a lesson they were learning far too late. Chaos reigned in the arena, but it was controlled chaos, orchestrated by humans who saw patterns others missed. Every corner became a tactical advantage. Rubble and debris weren't obstacles, they were tools. Broken pillars served as shields, jagged stone as traps. Sarana marveled at how humans turned their environment into an extension of their will, transforming vulnerability into opportunity. As the sun set behind the alien fleet, casting the battlefield in crimson and gold, the humans made their move. They split into squads, targeting weak points in alien formations, using mobility and technology to neutralize superior numbers. Even the most confident alien generals hesitated, uncertain how to respond to a species that fought unlike any they had seen. The stage was set for the next phase, a bold, dangerous assault on the alien command ship itself. Humanity had proven that numbers and raw power weren't everything. Ingenuity, courage, and strategy could tilt the balance against impossible odds. The arena, battered but not broken, became the proving ground for human resilience. Above it all, Jace's voice crackled through comms. "Prepare for the strike. This ends at the source." The rising threat had been met with human precision and audacity, but the true test, the climactic showdown, was only moments away. The alien command ship loomed above the arena like a black monolith, its hull bristling with weapons and defenses designed to annihilate anything that dared approach. From orbit, it commanded the alien fleet with ruthless efficiency, coordinating strikes, deploying reinforcements, and monitoring the arena below with sophisticated sensors. For humans, the task seemed impossible: infiltrate, disable, and survive. But Lieutenant Jace Rayner had no intention of retreating. This was the moment humanity would define itself, not with size or brute force, but with courage, precision, and audacity. The stealth craft descended through the outer atmosphere, its hull designed to resist detection and withstand orbital fire long enough to reach the command ship. Jace's squad moved like shadows, compact and silent, tethered to the hull with magnetic grips. Every step was deliberate, every movement calculated to avoid the ship's automated defense turrets. Outside, alien fighters swarmed, plasma bolts streaking through the void, but the humans had anticipated this. Gravity disruptors created turbulence, knocking off target shots, while electronic countermeasures scrambled sensors and guidance systems. Every obstacle was neutralized before it became lethal. Inside the command ship, chaos was immediate. Alien officers, unprepared for intruders in their supposedly impregnable fortress, scrambled to organize a defense. Mechanized guards stormed corridors, energy barriers activated, and alarm sirens blared in dissonant, terrifying shrieks. Yet the human team flowed through the chaos like a single organism. Compact energy shields absorbed incoming plasma, rifles fired with pinpoint accuracy, and tactical commands coordinated every squad movement. Every encounter was swift, decisive. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Serana, now fighting alongside Jace, marveled at the difference. Humans didn't rely on sheer strength. They relied on anticipation, adaptability, and coordinated effort. She ducked under a sweeping laser blast, slashing a guard with her blade, while a human teammate disabled the energy field controlling the corridor doors. Their synergy was perfect, a ballet of violence that defied expectations. Even Korthak, formidable as he had been, would have been outmatched in such an environment where strategy and coordination mattered more than raw power. The team pushed deeper into the ship, navigating labyrinthine corridors and automated defense zones. Each step brought them closer to the central command console, the brain controlling the alien fleet. Every second, reinforcements arrived, more drones, armored soldiers, and energy turrets. Yet the humans anticipated them all. Plasma traps were disarmed mid-flight. Mechanical walkers were toppled with carefully timed charges, and drones were shot down with compact railguns designed to pierce multiple layers of alien alloy. It was a war of precision, and humanity had the advantage. Finally, Jace reached the command deck, the heart of the alien operation. Screens and holograms flickered, displaying the positions of every ship, every unit, and every weapon in the fleet. Alien generals barked orders, frantic now as their defenses failed one by one. Jace planted destabilizing charges at critical junctions, engines, weapon arrays, and communication nodes. He worked with surgical speed, knowing that every second could bring the arrival of overwhelming reinforcements. Serana covered him, slicing through attackers with relentless efficiency, her movements amplified by the human's precise coordination. Time compressed. The countdown to detonation ticked in his mind even as he moved from console to console, planting the final charges. Alien reinforcements stormed the command deck, yet the humans held their ground. Energy shields flared, plasma rounds zipped through corridors, and Serana's agility created openings for Jace to continue his work uninterrupted. The tension was electric, every breath a calculated risk, every heartbeat echoing the stakes of the galaxy itself. Finally, with the last charge secured, Jace retreated to the observation port. He activated the detonation sequence. The command ship shuddered violently, systems overloading and cascading failure. Alarms blared and hull plating warped as explosions erupted throughout the vessel, sending shockwaves that disrupted the alien fleet's coordination. Ships lost alignment, communication grids failed, and the meticulously planned assaults collapsed into chaos. From the observation port, Serana watched in awe as human ingenuity dismantled what had seemed invincible. The command ship, a symbol of alien dominance, exploded in brilliant bursts of light, tumbling out of orbit in fragments. Alien forces, leaderless and disoriented, began a chaotic retreat. The arena below, still standing despite the devastation, bore witness to humanity's triumph, not through size or muscle, but through precision, coordination, and relentless determination. Jace and his team descended back to the arena as survivors cheered in disbelief. Humanity had shown that intelligence, strategy, and courage could topple the seemingly unstoppable. Every alien who had doubted them would remember this day, when a handful of humans faced a galaxy of overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. The climactic showdown had ended, not with brute force, but with human skill and ingenuity. The battle was over, and the lesson was clear. Never underestimate humanity. The battlefield was quiet now, though the silence carried a strange tension. Smoke and dust swirled over the shattered arena, fragments of stone and scorched metal scattered across the ground. The twin suns cast a crimson glow on the chaos, painting everything in gold and blood-red shadows. For a moment, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The alien fleet, once organized and terrifying, had splintered into disarray. Ships drifted aimlessly, communications gone silent, while retreating vessels fled toward distant systems. Humanity had struck a decisive blow, but the cost was visible in every scorched stone and fallen soldier. Serana stood at the center of the arena, her body aching, muscles screaming with fatigue. Yet her spirit burned brighter than ever. She glanced at Lieutenant Jace Rayner, who had descended from the hovering craft alongside his operatives. Even covered in soot and grime, his posture radiated control and confidence. Their eyes met briefly, an unspoken acknowledgement passing between them. They had changed the course of history. Serana had fought her entire life to survive, but humans had shown her a different kind of strength, a combination of courage, intelligence, and unyielding determination that could topple titans and fleets alike. The alien spectators, still watching from the terraces, remained frozen. The legend of invincibility, embodied in Korthak and the command ship, had been shattered by humans. Murmurs of disbelief spread across species, their voices blending into a low, continuous hum of astonishment. They had underestimated humans, fragile, untested, and small in size, but they had now seen the terrifying effectiveness of skill, strategy, and relentless daring. Humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement, proving that sheer power was not the ultimate measure of strength. Amid the ruins, humans worked quickly. They tended to injured allies and Serana, repairing minor wounds with advanced medical tools that operated with speed no alien technology could match. Every movement was precise, deliberate. Despite the exhaustion, there was no panic, no hesitation. Each operative understood the importance of the moment. Survival wasn't enough. They had to solidify victory and ensure that humanity's intervention left a permanent mark. Serana, still catching her breath, reflected on the battle. She had expected death many times, braced herself countless times for the crushing strike that would end her life. Yet here she stood, alive because of humans. Her thoughts raced to Korthak, still lying motionless from the human arrow that had felled him. He was a symbol of invincibility, a warrior whose presence had dominated entire systems, yet he had fallen to precise action rather than raw strength. Serana understood now that victory was not always about endurance or courage alone. It was about adaptability, intelligence, and timing. Above the arena, the remnants of the alien fleet regrouped in panic. Leaders scrambled to restore order, but chaos had already taken root. Systems were compromised, fleets scattered, and the once feared command ship lay in ruins. Across the galaxy, news would spread quickly. A handful of humans had not only survived the Glorothian Game's deadliest duel, but had toppled the champions and shattered an entire fleet. Their names would become synonymous with ingenuity, daring, and the untamed potential of a species long underestimated. Jace stepped beside Serana, scanning the skies for remaining threats. "It's over," he said simply, though his voice carried the weight of relief and triumph. His operatives dispersed around the arena, securing positions and ensuring that no lingering enemies could reorganize. Their victory was both tactical and symbolic, a demonstration that humans were a force to be reckoned with, capable of turning desperation into advantage, chaos into opportunity. As the twin suns dipped behind the horizon, Serana felt a surge of respect and admiration. She had fought her entire life for survival, yet humans had redefined what survival and victory could look like. They had not relied solely on physical prowess or raw power. They had observed, adapted, and struck with precision when the stakes were highest. Humanity's triumph wasn't just in defeating the enemy. It was in proving that intellect, ingenuity, and courage could topple even the mightiest adversaries. The arena, once a place of terror and death, became a testament to resilience. Crumbling stone and scorched earth bore witness to a species rising above expectation. Serana raised her blade in silent acknowledgement of the human's role, the gesture mirrored by Jace's squad. For the first time, aliens and humans alike understood that the galaxy had shifted. Humanity had arrived, not as weaklings or outsiders, but as pioneers of strategy, courage, and unrelenting determination. As the dust settled, Serana spoke, her voice clear over the murmurs of alien spectators. "Your arrow saved more than my life. It saved countless others. You've shown us all something extraordinary." Jace nodded, his expression firm yet humble. "We're not just survivors," he replied. "We're humans, and we fight differently. The galaxy would remember this day. not for destruction or bloodshed alone, but for the audacity, intelligence, and resilience of a species previously underestimated. Humanity had triumphed, leaving an indelible mark that would echo across stars and centuries. The legend of the Glorathian Games had changed forever, because humans had entered the fray and nothing would ever be the same again.